Hey everyone, I'm MyTyme, this is NHL Supercard, and we're back with an endurance video. Now, unfortunately, it's going to be shorter than what I would have probably anticipated to do before, but I haven't really played much of the event, as you can see here, and I need to do some other stuff, so I'm not too sure how much event I'm going to play, but I thought I'd come in and give some top tips before we kick off. Now, I'm going to click on here, and the first thing I'm going to let you know is that this event is pretty much a mix between a season mode and a normal quick game mode, okay? So you play games back to back to back to back without coming out. You just go straight into the next game until you lose, in terms of, and it plays out like a normal quick game. And the season aspect is that your cards lose energy when they're used. If they're not used, they gain energy. So if they're rested, in theory, they replenish energy. Now, the only way you can energize a card apart from rest of them is if you use energies themselves. Now, you can't get energies in game apart from purchasing them. So tip number 2 is to make sure you start the game with 12 energies. And to do that, you can come out once you've finished your endurance mode, go into quick game and just play a few quick games to get yourself up to 12 energies before you go back in. Every time you win a quick game, you get an energy, so it won't take you long at all. If you want to try and play for free, you definitely want to be going in with 12 energies. If you're happy to buy energies in game, then that's cool, but even then, you still might as well, for the sake of a couple of minutes, start off with all 12, because it's just going to save you credits in the long run. If you want to get streaks of 25 or 30 without pain, you do need to have those 12 energies to help you along the way, okay? Tip number 3 is going to be the composition of your team. And I am using, as you've probably seen in here, what's known as a 3-man band, or you could use a 4-man band. So what is that? 3-man band / 4-man band is using either 3 or 4 strong cards, and then leaving 2 or 3 depending which option you're going for. Should we say weak dead cards which have no impact in the game. They're just there to lower the overall standard of your deck. So what you're doing is you're trying to put yourself towards the bottom of a tier. So for me, Legendary Plus, with cards that are technically too good for the tier or at the top end of the tier. So against an average opponent in Legendary Plus, they're likely to have just epic pros, loads of epic pros. They might have a legendary pro, they might have, say, a underleveled star card like I do here in Stamkos, but they're unlike, they can't have, say, 5 legendary pros, because it wouldn't put them in Legendary Plus. So when you're playing in endurance, you're going to be playing against people in your tier. So the only, should we say, difficulty you should come across is if you come across against a person who plays a team like yours, so for example uses a similar strategy to you. So we'll get that out of the way. I'm not too sure if I've done 3 or 4 tips, and I think I've done 3. Excuse me. Okay, so you can, tip number 4 is you don't have to worry about putting out your best cards. You can drop into any tier as long as you can win. So whatever tier you're in, say for example you can put in 2 epic pros and an ultra rare pro. If that wins for you and commons everywhere else, that's fine. Even if you're normally in epic tier and that drops you down into ultra rare, don't worry about it. Okay, don't worry, because at the end of your endurance run, when you finally are defeated, you don't have to take your board pools. You can close the game out, load it back up, go into quick game, put in your best deck, and once you hit that first game finished, you can then pick all your board pools off of your top tier. So you don't, if you're dropping your deck down, don't take your board pools off of the board at the end of endurance. Come out into quick game, put in your best team, play a game, and then take your picks. And there's a good chance you're going to have to play some quick games anyway to replenish your energies. Now, tip number 5, and this tip's only applicable really if you can put monster streaks together of like 100, because otherwise, if you're going to replenish your energies, you have to go back into quick game anyway. But you can save up to, I think it's about 157 board picks. So if you're somebody who doesn't want to do the quick game, you're happy just to replenish your energies by purchasing, then you can say you got 40 picks, come out, go back in, straight back into endurance, replenish your energies with the 90 credits, go back in. You come out, you've got 52 picks, 92 stored, go back in, come out, you've got 48 picks. Then you go into your quick game and collect your picks, okay? So you can keep coming out and going back into the endurance and storing them up if you want to, because you can take up to 157 or something like that. Anything on top of that just gets lost, so bear that in mind. Now let's come in and play a few games. I'm not going to play too much, okay? I'm only going to play a few games. Probably get up to about, if I can, a streak of 10 and just show you the theory, okay? So tip number 6 is going to be use the information that the game gives you to your advantage. So don't just sit there and tap away and not pay attention. Here, it's the first game. I don't know anything about the opponent, and that's going to come to tip number 7. So come back to and say, I don't know anything about the opponent, so I'm going to use my best cards for now. Tip 7 is, if you come against an opponent who uses basically the same strategy as you, it's got a very identical deck to you, then make a note. So when you come to play them in future, you know that you have to have your cards fully energized for that game, okay? Because under this strategy, I'm going to be losing the goalie match every time, okay? So the goalie is the throwaway match. I need to win the other 2 periods. If you had a 4-man band and you had a good goalie in as well, then you'd automatically lose the first quarter. So for here, I'd throw away my weakest card because it's a skater, and then I'd win periods 2 and 3 because I'm trying to get the computer to use 1 or 2 of their good cards first of all, and then I win the latter 2 periods. The strategy I'm using, I have to win every game which isn't a goalie match. So first of all, I'll come up and use one of my pros. This will tell me what kind of deck I'm against. There you go, a person with the similar deck to me. So this guy, whatever his name is, begins with D. Oh, Buffaloes begins with B. I said B, not D. Buffaloes tried to me, okay? So I will use my boost. I will come use my next legendary pro. Okay, so he doesn't have another legendary pro, which is good, but I know he's got one. Okay, so I know he has that one in the locker. So throw away on the last match, and as you can see, he's got commons or uncommons, so he's using a similar strategy to me. Now tip 8. Oh, did I do 7? If I didn't do, I did do 7, I think. If I didn't do 7, 7 is skip to tip 8. Tip 8 is, if you're using a strategy, put in an uncommon goalie, not a common, because there will become the odd time where you get screwed up in the first period, and by using an uncommon and a common card, you can sometimes beat the opponent when he's got a similar strategy to you who uses 2 common cards, okay? I promise you it does work, and it does save you sometimes. Those of you that have put on big streaks before will know what I'm talking about, and it's the best tip I can probably give you in terms of helping to prolong some of these streaks when it goes badly in the first period using this tactic. That uncommon goalie can come to your rescue. So we saw there that there was epic pros, so we're going to win this one. Now we're going to hope that this match is a single match. It isn't. Okay, I've got 2 options. I've seen legendary pros. I can hope that he's going to have weaker cards and throw out my Hamilton and my whoever this is. I don't even know who it is, sorry. Or I just go for the win. Now I'm going to go for the win here because I'm doing the video and I'm trying to show you. But as you could see, I don't know how many points they had. They were about 15,000. So I'd have been about, no, 1,500. I'd have been about the same. So it would have been close. I could have taken the risk to not use my Stamkos, so he energized, but I didn't. Now, as we progress again, my cards need to be able to beat epic pros because that's the tier that I'm in. So tip number 9 is make sure that when you play first match, when you don't know who you're up against, no information, make sure that whatever card you use can comfortably beat the best kind of card you're generally coming up against. So most of the time I'm coming up against epic pros, so I need my cards to have more than 800 in the 2 stats, probably about 850 to be sure, just in case of a proc. So it's a single match, focus and skating. I'm going to use Stamkos because he can comfortably beat an epic pro at the moment, okay? And he does. Now, if it had to come up against a legendary card, the legendary pro, I'd have still had both of these cards for the next game. So I could have energized them to make the full and then hopefully try and win the second period and then hopefully also won the period with a goalie. That was the theory behind using Stamkos there. Now, I won't always use Stamkos in that situation. The other reason why I did is because it's hopefully now, oh, okay, 2 skaters, right? So we're not going to take that risk of, which I could have done, throwing out one of my pros and this card. I'm not going to do that on camera because it's been going badly for me recently. But as you can see, if you watch what your opponent uses, you can sometimes save one of your top cards and use one of your weaker cards, and this is a good series. You're throwing away first of all, so you get to see what your computer's using. Epic Pros, so 2 Epic Pros gone. Being a Legendary Plus, he can't have 5 Epic Pros, okay? So you know that for a fact. 2 skaters, so I can't do it. I needed 1 skater. I'm not going to take the risk, so this last game is going to be a weak card, but I'm not going to take the risk, and I could use the boost. I'm not going to because I don't want to do it on camera, but it would have got away. See, if I wasn't on camera, I would have done that. And the reason why I would have done that is because it's only game, what's 5, 6, I mean? Yeah, so I would have happily just taken that risk there, because if I got it wrong, I'd just start again. But if I was obviously, say, got up to 25, 30 games, then I wouldn't do that. Now, 2 cards again. They need to be able to beat Epic Pros. So we're going to use these 2. Cool, good. Not a person with a legendary. If they had had a legendary pro, then I'd been the same tactic again. I'd be maxing out Hamilton for the next period and then praying that my goalie got me the win. So with that, I don't need to energize Hamilton because he can beat an Epic Pro, and we throw away here. So got to round 6 of this now without any energies. Good, cool. But we're going to be closing in on potentially having to use one. Perfect here. We get to throw away, see what kind of opponents we're up against. 1 Legendary Pro. Yeah, see, trying to catch me out. And 1 Epic Pro. So, good news, there's no more Legendary Pros left. So, who can be an Epic Pro? You can be an Epic Pro. Good. Now, 2 people, 1 person. Okay, so we're going to leave Dougie Hamilton, so he can energize. Out comes Stamkos, and we get the win. So next round, perfect again. We get to throw away, see what we're up against. We're up against 2 Epic Pros. Okay, now I need to be able to beat an Epic Pro in the first match. So let's have a look. Stamkos isn't strong enough to beat an Epic Pro, but with Dougie Hamilton, he would be. So I'm going to use these 2. And same again, there's an extremely strong chance that there is a common card or uncommon card coming up. So I could use my boost and here, but I'm not going to because I'm on camera. And I would have won. Obviously, those kind of boosts are the reason why you can win with the common cards, because having plus 36, etc. is obviously going to give you the win. Still no energies used. Playmaking, same idea again. Can't beat an Epic Pro. Yeah, too much of a risk without using a boost, so we're going to use the card that can beat an Epic Pro. Good. Don't get me wrong, you will sometimes get very unlucky and you'll come against two or three in short succession people with similar deck or teams to yours, and they'll just iron you out and your streak will be ended. This is why I say go back to tip number 4 or 5 or 6 and write down the person, okay? Because then the number of times you're going to have to write down who's had 2. I mean 2, okay? If you want to do it with 1, say, in my case, Legendary Pro, you can. But having 1 Legendary Pro isn't the end of the world, because it means that I can beat the Epic Pro anyway with my cards, or the Epic Pros remaining. But when they got 2 Legendary Pros, they're the ones you definitely want to write down. Okay, so we won that one. Skating. Now, because we can't guarantee the win, we're going to boost up Stamkos. And the reason I'm going to boost up Stamkos as opposed to Robitaille is because once he is replenished from not being used, some of his stats will be able to beat an Epic Pro, whereas Stamkos still won't be able to, because he was on 600s everywhere. So we use him, we get the win. Now, as you see, all of Luke's stats apart from skating are going to be in 700. That's going to be just shy, so there's a greater chance. Oh, in fact, it is just in it. Sorry, I didn't realise it replenished quite that much. Okay, so goalie game, perfect. Let's see what we're up against. Aha, one of the ones that would have screwed me over. But the good news is that means now that he can't have too many strong cards left. So what I will do is I will take the risk of not replenishing. Okay. And for the last match, I am... Oh, 12 is not enough, is it? If this was the bottom stats, I'd have done that. Okay, I can't because it's against the... Yeah, cool. Fair enough. That was lucky. All right, so there we go. So that person's sender. So now what I do is write down sender, and I'd be... Let me do this now. Cool. So now I know that when I come up against them in a future endurance, I need to make sure that I energize my cards, okay? Because if it's not a goalie out, first of all, as you saw, then he's going to have pros, and unless my legendary cards are energized, I'm going to lose. So I wasn't even paying attention to this. I didn't see what they had, but that should still be any pro. And last match is playmaking and skating. Oh, okay, because that should be enough. And it is. So we have got to round 10. In fact, we've got through round 10 and we've used 1 energy. Okay. So just showing you that you don't need to use energies too frequently if you watch the game. Now, obviously, now I'm at the stage where I am going to be using energies because I will find out information first of all in round 11. So there's 1 pro, epic pro, and 1 single star. So focus, that can be an epic pro, or most epic pros, and for just in case, we will energize and carry on. So it's 2 energies used into round 12. Now I'm not going to play too many more games. I'm going to stop probably on camera for around 15, but I'm just going to show you obviously now what happens. So I've used that energy there on Robitaille, so as a result he's going to be the first one that I use in this example, okay, because there's no point me using another energy on the other 2 guys if I can get away without doing it. So we've got epic pros, goalie, do we take the risk? Yeah, we do, because we're coming off camera anyway, so you can be an epic pro, which is fine. And last of all we go here, so that allows Dougie Hamilton to replenish a bit, which means that hopefully if we get a favourable person in round 14, we don't have to use another energy. So good result again here. Goalies first are perfect because they tell you all the information you need to know. 2 epic pros, which means that it's the 3rd card I come up against is not going to be better than epic pro. So we will say, hey, you should be an epic pro. And then last game, 1 person, 2. Okay, I could use these 2 with the boost, but I am not going to because I'm going to try and build a streak. But as you see, it would have worked, and I was fairly confident because I'd had 3 epic pros already come out. So as I said before, in this tier, it's very unlikely a person can't have 5 epic pros because it's going to be too strong. There won't be legendary plus. So I would have taken that risk there, but you know, you don't have to. As you saw from me, you can sometimes play sensible. Okay, so here we're going to energize Stamkos. These 2 guys should be good enough to beat. Ooh, just about. Maybe it's going to be tough. It was close. Hit 1 pro. Okay, so we used a goalie. 600s. Okay, cool. And then we use Hamilton. And that's it, finished. Okay, so we have got 2 round. What's that? It's 15? Yeah, okay. So we got to round 15 using only 3 energies. We'll play this last round. So same thing again. Stamkos can be an epic. Okay, so Patrick Subban has come out here. Now this is where, if you wanted to spend energies, okay, what I would have done is I would have leveled up Dougie Hamilton because he's the weakest card. I'd have put him out first, and then I would have obviously made a decision now. So I've just lost that game. So what I'm going to do here is I am going to use an energy. Oh no, in fact, I'm going to see who's the... Okay. So we'll use the energy. Hamilton, just in case there's another legendary. Now there isn't. So last match means I'm going to try and salvage this. So I'll use the boost. a goalie and here and see if we can get out of it, and we will. Okay, going. Now this occasion it didn't help having the uncommon goalie, but it did help by using Stamkos first when I didn't have the information, because it still kept my 2 strongest cards back, which is also what managed to help me win that match. So that's going to be me done for now. I'm going to cut this off here. I might be back later on in the event. Good luck, guys. Let me know what you're going for. Let me know if you've got any better strategies or anything else. 6 left at the moment, so you can do 25-30 streaks without using any credits. And that's probably the way I'd recommend you playing the game. If you want to just sit there and continuously do out massive streaks, if you can, and you're happy to do the credits, and fine, but you should still be able to get in the top 101 to 250 without technically paying any money. So that'll be my time. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I'm going to shoot out here because it's running late and I've got to head off. Thank you for watching. Leave me any comments if you want to know anything more. If there's something I've said you're not too sure about, I'll try and explain it better. Or once again, if you've got a little tip to help me, hey, please, I'm not saying this is perfect, so if you can tweak it for me, or by all means, please do. Anyway, good luck, and I'll see you all very soon.